I invite you to stay at home with me. In this video, I am going to make some roasted root vegetables. So come on in. If you're new to my channel, I'm Denise Jordan, and I teach traditional homemaking for today's woman. So if you want to learn more about the art and science of homemaking, subscribe and double tap that little bell icon so you don't miss any upcoming videos. Okay, let's talk about cooking some root vegetables. First of all, what are root vegetables? Well, they're just vegetables that kind of grow in the ground, like they're the roots of things. And one of the root vegetables that I'm cooking today is parsnip. And if you look at it, it looks like a yellow carrot, and that's about what it reminds me of. But as you can see, they're starting to get a little bit shriveled. And I learned a new term recently from my friend Mary at Mary's Nest, and I will link her in the description box below so you can check her out. But it was called a no-waste kitchen. And she uses everything. She tries not to throw out anything. And I have tried to be a better steward of my resources. So certainly I try not to waste food, particularly during this lockdown. While people are being locked down and there's shortages and so many people are doing without what they normally need or would have, I'm trying not to waste food. So I did not want to waste these. So I wanted to make sure that I used these parsnips before they went bad. The other thing that I have is potato. And I've got several potatoes. And since we're trying to stay home during this time of quarantine, I bought a 10-pound bag of potatoes when I normally would only buy 5. Well, you can see the eyes are starting to grow on them, that kind of thing. So I need to get them used up. And then the other root vegetable that I have are these baby peeled carrots. And I normally don't like to buy the peeled carrots. I like to buy the long organic carrots that grow on the ground and you scrape them and all that kind of thing. But the day that I went to the grocery, they did not have any. All they had were these peeled carrots. And whereas they do last for a bit of time in the fridge, they don't last as long as the other kind do. So I thought I'd better use up some of these. So today I'm making roasted root vegetables, so let's get it started. So the first thing I'm going to do is wash these potatoes, and then I will cut them into like finger-sized pieces, about like that. I will rinse these carrots and then kind of cut them in half or thirds, lengthwise. And then I'll get these parsnips scraped and cut again in about 1-inch pieces. So the veggies will be about like that. Maybe about that long. I'll put them on a baking sheet, spread a little seasoning on them, and then I will roast them in the oven. So let's get that started. Now, in case you're wondering why I'm washing the potatoes since I'm going to peel them, is because once I start peeling them, my hands will come in contact with the meat of the potato. And I don't want them to be dirty from all the dirt that's on the skin. So I always wash them, scrub them up good first, and then I peel them. So, since I'm trying to do a no-waste kitchen, I'm going to use the scrapings from the parsnips. I'm going to put them in the freezer and put it in this bag that I've got that I'm saving scraps in. I'll show you. So this is a bag of veggie scraps that I have right now. And this is a bag that has veggie scraps and bone scraps in it. I'm going to save it to make some bone broth, some chicken bone broth. So I've got onion skins and orange peelings and carrot scrapings, and now parsnip scrapings in here. And this will go back in the freezer till I'm ready to make bone broth. And then this bag of potato peelings I'm going to give to my husband. He's got a worm farm going on out there. He's got a compost that he's put together and he's growing night crawlers. So I'll give this to him. And this is going back in the freezer. So now I'm just going to quarter my potatoes and then quarter them again. I'm going to cut them lengthwise. And then make about 3 segments like this. Or like this, and they'll be fine in the roasting pan. So let's get that done. And I'll do the same thing with the parsnips. I'm going to cut it in half like this. And then into little finger sizes like that. And in case you hear a motor all of a sudden, my husband is in the garage working on his boat. So how is he handling things during this lockdown? Well, he's made enough bobbers for the free world. And then he's been getting his boat ready for fishing season so that when he can go out on the water, he'll be good to go. There was something going on with the motor and he had to order some new parts and now they've come, so that gives him something to do, and thank God, because he's been driving me crazy in this house all day. So for those of you who have your family at home, I'm sure you know what I mean. Now, don't get it twisted. I am glad he's here. But I'm glad he's got something to occupy his time too. Now my carrots are a bit shorter, and they're shorter because they were the fingerling carrots, but I'll do the same thing. I'll probably just cut them in half though. Because they're small enough as they are. Let's put this cloth underneath this cutting board to keep it from spinning all around. That's much better. Just that one little thing has made it so much easier. See, it's not spinning around at all. I don't know why I didn't do that sooner. I'm making barbecue style short ribs for dinner. So they've been here in this brazier for about 2 hours, just kind of cooking. Now I need to add some barbecue sauce. I poured off the oil from the short ribs because, well, first of all, they create a lot of oil, but I'm also going to use some of that oil on the root vegetables. Sorry about that. I know this video is about root vegetables, but I am making dinner, and I thought you just might like to see what we were having. So, let me get back on task. Okay, now let's get these veggies on the baking sheet, and what we're going to do, is place them single file on the baking sheets. Get them all spread out, and you're probably thinking that's an awful lot of veggies for 2 people. Yes, it is, but we're going to have this for 2 or 3 different meals. You can always use carrots and potatoes. So try to get them spread out as much as possible, and then I'm going to cover them with aluminum foil. Pop them in the oven and they will cook for about 30 minutes with the aluminum foil on. And then I'll take them out and add my seasoning and a little bit of oil. I'm going to cover it tightly. Now it's going to go in the oven at 450 degrees for about 30 minutes. So while the root vegetables are in the oven, I'm going to pour the oil that came off of my country style ribs, or shall I say the drippings off of my country style ribs, into this fat separator. And I'm going to let it sit in here for about 5 minutes so that the fat can rise to the top, so that I can strain the drippings from some of that fat. And then I'm going to use that, some of the fat, about 3 tablespoons of it, with a little bit of seasoning. I'm going to sprinkle that over the veggies once they come out. And then I'll pop them back in and let them broil for a few minutes, but that's just going to make those vegetables taste delicious. And then I'll also wash up those dishes while I'm waiting on those veggies to come out. I believe in washing as you go. It just kind of helps to kind of keep things nice in the kitchen. So I'm going to let this sit. You can see already there's a little bit of oil right there at the top. So I'll let it sit for 5 minutes, and then I'll come back and strain that out. But in the meantime, I'll get those dishes washed up. So I'll get these dried and put away, and then I'll work on getting that fat strained off. Just wanted you to see I got these short ribs or country style ribs out of the oven, and now I'm just going to set them aside. And we'll get those vegetables taken care of. So now I'm going to pour the fat off. And you can see right there, there's the layer of the fat that's there. So I'll pour a little bit more. And I'm going to stop there. So this is the last of my fresh thyme. And I just kind of strip the leaves off of the branches, see, off the stems. So now I'm going to just mix it up a little bit, because I need about a teaspoon of minced fresh thyme. And I guess for any other recipes that I'll be making, I'll be using dried thyme because I'm trying not to go out to the store. So there's about a teaspoon of fresh thyme. So I'm gonna put that here into my bowl. Gonna add 3 tablespoons of my reserved drippings. Got those veggies out of the oven. So they look pretty good. So now I'm going to sprinkle them with about a teaspoon of salt. And you need a half a teaspoon of pepper, but I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit of pepper on them. And then I'm going to drizzle them with the thyme soaked oil. I probably should have sprinkled the thyme on the veggies, but since I didn't have quite enough, I thought I'll put it in the oil, and that way it'll make sure it gets pretty dispersed over all of it. So I'm going to drizzle just a little bit of this oil over these potatoes, and then I'm going to flip them over. Just get them flipped over, and then they're going to go back in the oven in the broiler on 450 and just finish up. And I tell you what, the drippings from that meat just really adds a lot of flavor to these vegetables. So roasted root vegetables. All right, so now these are going to go back in the oven for about 5 to 8 minutes. All right, let's get this out of the oven. These veggies look amazing, absolutely amazing. The hubby is going to love them. And I tell you what, they were not difficult to make. Root vegetables sounds like it might be something like scary or hard to make, but it's just carrots, parsnips, potatoes. You can even do sweet potatoes and carrots and parsnips or something like that, but they look really good, and we're going to enjoy our dinner. So let me start to get things plated up, and we'll go from there, but I'll bring you in closer so you can get a good look at them. These root vegetables were so delicious. And here it is, all plated up. So here's the question of the day. What kind of root vegetables do you make, and how do you make them? Inquiring minds want to know. Tell me in the comment section below. And if you like this video, I've got a few other videos that I'm sure you will enjoy, particularly my series on vintage baking. I've got one where I made baking powder biscuits from a 1901 cookbook, and then another where I made buttermilk cornbread muffins from a cookbook called Foods to Win the War and How to Cook Them. During this particular time, they were dealing with shortages and sending foodstuffs over to the Allies. So this recipe was just right on point. And it reminds me of the situation that many of us find ourselves in today, in that we don't have access to the things we normally do. And just so you know, I've raised 3 children and I've managed a home for more than 45 years. So if you want to learn more about the art and science of homemaking, subscribe. I would love to have you as a member of the TNT community. In the meantime, this is Denise Jordan saying you are not done yet. I am bringing you an invitation from the ladies of the Sister Circle to join us for Quarantine Cooking at Home with Me, where we're going to bring you a series of videos every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the next 4 weeks. What are the videos about? Well, they're going to be videos to help you sort out what to cook in your quarantine kitchen. So join me and the ladies of the Sister Circle on Wednesday night at 7 p.m. for the next 4 weeks. We're going to bring you the best quarantine cooking on YouTube. To check out this week's episodes of Quarantine Cooking at Home with Me, just click on the link in the description box or in the comment section.